Be warned, there's an enemy within, a lethal new computer bug called Conficker, out there ready to pounce. It's like one of those terrorist sleeper cells. No one knows when or how it will strike, but 10 million computers worldwide could already be infected. Obviously, it's time to call in the experts, the super geeks with a mission to destroy these cyber monsters. And it's quite a mission. As Leslie Stahl reports, last year alone, the number of computer virus outbreaks tripled. Truly frightening when you consider the main aim of the exercise is to invade your private life and steal your money.
At Symantec, the company that makes Norton antivirus software, engineers have been tracking Conficker since last November as it worms its way across the globe.
This map is showing a visual representation of where all of the known infections of Conficker are across the world.
This is Conficker. Vice President Steve Trilling says the worm is now living on millions of computers, mainly in corporations. So far, the bad guys who created it haven't triggered Conficker. It's just sitting out there like a sleeper cell.
Imagine a network of spies that has infiltrated a country, and every day all of the spies are calling in for their instructions on what to do next.
What's the worm being asked to do?
That's the interesting thing. The only thing the worm is being asked to do is to ask for further instructions.
So we're talking several months.
That's right.
Several months, it's just been sitting there.
That's exactly right.
I don't know, I'm hearing Jaws music. It's that ominous because once the hackers issue instructions, Conficker could turn menacing in an instant. With one click, the worm's creator can instruct it to suck sensitive data like bank passwords and account numbers out of millions of computers, or launch a massive spam attack to clog up the works. The newest targets of worms are social networking sites. Trilling showed us how it might work. So is this a real Facebook page?
This is a real Facebook page.
Oh, okay.
And we added your friend and colleague, Morley Safer. You can see down there in the left.
He says a worm can crack into a Facebook account like Morley's and send a message to anyone on his friends list. We have a message from Morley. A message I'm sure to open since it comes from a trusted friend. Click there, it says, ha ha ha, check out this hilarious video of you.
That's right. So
well, I would do that. I took the bait, and by clicking on the video link...
Something looks a little off.
Very off. Am I already infected just by that?
You're already infected.
That quickly?
That quickly.
As Trilling demonstrated on a second screen, the hacker owned me.
From here on out, as we'll see, everything you do is going to show up on the hacker's machines.
So when I typed my username and password into a bank website, it appeared instantly on the hacker's screen, along with my bank account details. Everything I type shows up here.
Every single keystroke you hit. In fact, if you make a mistake and hit a backspace, that shows up in the window.
The hacker then followed me around as I browsed the internet, from CBS News.
Take a look at what the hackers see. Right? Exactly where you are.
To Amazon.com. So if I buy something, they're going to have my credit card?
Everything you type in, your address, your credit card, it's all going to show up in that window.
The internet has become a minefield. Hackers have hidden their malicious software, known as malware, on some of the most trusted websites, like eBay, the Miami Dolphins football team, even myBarackObama.com. Trilling says too few people have top-notch, up-to-date security software. There is something that would have prevented me from answering Morley's message, or I would never have gotten Morley's message.
As soon as you clicked on that link and you had security software, you would immediately get an alert. This is a bad website, and it would have blocked the attack. You would have never been hit. Putting on that software, you're preventing yourself from becoming a victim.
But according to Symantec's own figures, the hackers are inventing 10,000 to 15,000 new infections every day, designed specifically to get around the latest antivirus protections. Symantec has to send out updates every 5 minutes. You sell this.
I
do.
You
sell the antivirus, anti-worm stuff. How do I know you're not just saying go out and get this because you sell it? I mean, you know, there's a sort of conflict of interest here.
Well, look, Leslie, in 60 minutes, we are blocking nearly 400,000 threats around the world. If you're going out on the internet and you're not protected, it's like walking out of your house and leaving the door open.
But Mary Rappaport says all the doors on her home computer were locked tight. She had antivirus software and a firewall, and so she thought she was safe to do her banking online. But then she noticed something odd going on and called the bank.
They told me that 3 charges in the last 3 days had been made to my account, one for $3,000, one for $4,000, and one for $1,200.
Were you having a heart attack?
Well, you know, I had the sense that time was of the essence.
The bank replaced the stolen money and suggested that she merely change her password. That was to be the end of it. But the next day, she was checking her balance.
And I saw $1,000 being moved from my son's savings account into my checking account.
You saw it?
Right before my eyes, I saw my money being moved.
A hacker was trying to move all her money into one account, her checking account, to make it easier to transfer overseas. Luckily, the bank was able to freeze her accounts before she lost any more money.
I had what I thought were adequate protections. You know, I had anti-spyware.
You did it.
Software and
antivirus,
and I thought I had a good enough firewall. Wrong. My understanding anyway is that they were able to get some sort of a bug onto my system that disabled the ability to update these software programs. Right. You guys, you want some popcorn?
Mary suspects her teenage sons picked up the bug while downloading from music or game websites. But it could have come from any number of websites. So tell me what Google is actually doing.
To deal with some of these big problems.
Yes, because Google's search engine is what most people use to surf the net, we went to talk to Vint Cerf, one of the founding fathers of the internet, and now a vice president at Google. The company itself says that 1 in every 100 Google searches brings up an infected site. People are blaming Google, because if you do the search, they say, you know, Google should be responsible if we get infected.
I think
now, you've heard that.
I think I have heard that, and I think that's a very bizarre way of looking at things.
Google's position is that it's not the policeman of the internet, but its engineers do scour the web and issue warnings about malicious infections or malware.
If we happen to see what we believe is malware on that website, then when you go there, we will pop up a web page and it says, we think we found malware on this site, maybe you don't want to go there.
Now, I understand that if you go there anyway, Google send you a second warning.
Well,
saying, are you serious? We just told you not to go there. Something like that.
Of course, people still go, and at that point, it's their problem.
You know, the more you hear about this, the more you feel that if you bank online, shop online, open an email, I mean, that almost anything you do puts you in jeopardy.
Actually, that's a true statement, that there are things, bad things can happen. On the other hand, I've been on the net ever since the net started, and I haven't had any of the bad problems that you've described.
But tens of millions of people have. 1 in 4 Americans, according to recent reports, as the hackers get more and more sophisticated. I'm told that you're a hacker hunter. Is that correct?
That's a good way to put it.
Don Jackson is director of threat intelligence at SecureWorks in Atlanta, which protects corporations against cyber attacks and tracks the hackers who launch them.
Part of my job is to know the enemy, to know our adversaries.
So the enemy is a hacker?
That's right. An enemy is somebody that wants to use computers to hurt somebody else or to make money for themselves.
Using an assumed name, Gozi, Jackson infiltrates chat rooms where hackers sell their worms and viruses to their clients, other hackers. He asks for a demo so his company can create software to disable the malware. The hackers, he says, are typically young, male, and often from Russia. How do you track them down?
Well, they're like any other business. They have to advertise to get clients.
You're saying that the hackers have ads?
Yes.
On the internet?
On the internet, publicly available.
No.
Unfortunately, they're all defined.
On websites like this one. He says many Russian hackers are in cyber gangs that display fascist symbols like swastikas and anti-American artwork. And they boast about all the dollars they've stolen from the rich Americans. a single hacker can make $30,000 a month and be championed in local newspapers.
There was an example recently where 2 boys were arrested, actually, and then let go the next day. But the article in the newspaper wasn't that they were arrested and that they had committed a crime, but saying, look at our 2 local boys made good. They've cheated some greedy Westerners out of so much money.
They're heroes.
They are.
It's not known who's behind the computer worm Conficker, whether it's a gang of Russian hackers or some solitary evil genius. This worm is wily. It keeps mutating. Security software companies have been kept very busy.
You're locked out, eh?
But Conficker can jump over protections. While we were reporting this story, we were stunned to learn that the wily worm had struck us right here at CBS News.
People were having problems with their Blackberries, their logons.
Louis Pelez, a network engineer, says Conficker is so aggressive it took technicians here 24/7 over 10 days to hunt down and quarantine the affected computers. Do you actually know where it started? Can you pinpoint it?
We really will probably never know exactly how it infected the network. We just know that, once it hit, it began to propagate.
CBS News has now contained the infection, but Pelez says Conficker could still be hiding undetected somewhere within the network. Did you think CBS is safe? Was that in your head, we're safe? Or did you think this could happen?
No, I pretty much thought that we were, pretty solid. You try to secure a network, but there's no guarantee that somebody can't come up with something that will, wreak havoc.